fifth and last battle report of a series of 5 covering the RollCall 2014 in Milton Keynes, UK. I am playing a dragon host army, which is Warriors of Chaos, with dragon flavored and conversions, and this time I'm playing Kev Francis's Vampire counts, or zombie counts I should say. Look at these blocks. Oh dear. That last game was tough, ended up with a draw, just happened, but went up. My opponent, is funny enough, is just the next table on the right. So we're playing for fun this last game, and I'm gonna try a couple of things here. I'm gonna try the one-trick ponies. I'm gonna try the dragon ogres. I need to make them work. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to lose. Basically, I think if I put my dragon in one of the 100 or 50 block of zombies, it is dead. So some crafty movement is gonna happen, or needs to happen. Without the detail list of my opponent, this is what I remember from the left. He's got 45 skeletons, 100 zombies block, ouch, 50 zombies, behind which you have 30 grave guards with a level 1 of Nagesh, yeah, 14 black knights with his general vampire level 4, and 50 skeletons on the right there. And this is how I deploy, including vanguard moves, because he's got none. Left hand side, Slanish Chariot, in front of which are Dragon Hounds. I got then a camera, 18 Warriors of Chaos, and next to that is the BSB. I've got Dragon Hounds right in the middle, Slanish Chariot, my level 2 on the steed of Slanish, Dragon Ogres, and on that second shot behind the Warriors of Chaos is my Dragon Lord and the camera. My opponents for spell got level 4 with Invocation of Nehek, Dance Macabre, Gaze of Nagash, and Wind of Death. Level 1 has Invocation of Nehek, no wonders with that many zombies. And my level 2 with a spell familiar gets Lash of Slaanesh, Hysterical Frenzy, and would you believe it, Cacophony Choir. So 5 times in a row I roll a 6 for my 3 spell, and I get Cacophony Choir. So, well, let's try it. I mean, right now, I realize it clearly doesn't work with a level 2, doesn't have enough oomph, maybe with a power stone or something, but maybe I've been lucky with dice, I don't know, but let's try. My opponent gets to go first and moves his unit of 50 zombies forward. In magic phase, his general tries to cast the Gaze on the hounds, but I dispel it, and tries to cast Wind of Death, but fails to cast. And I was a very quick turn 1 for Vampire. Dragon Host turn 1, I shift most of my army, leaving 1 unit of Dragon Hounds and Chariot on the left hand side of the table. Yeah, I shift everything to the right because the juicy unit is his general, and I don't want to face that block of 100 zombies. So that's where we stand. I push the dogs or the hounds forward, and my level 2 moves in position to cast a spell. In magic phase, I cast Hysterical Frenzy on the Black Knight and the General, forcing him to do a charge test with the hounds just in front of them. So hopefully, he's gonna have to be there, and therefore I'll be able to charge him next turn with everything I get. It will be in range, oh yes. Unfortunately for my trouble, I miscast, and I ward save with the Opal Amulet the wound that went on to the level 2. So let's see the plan. Vampire turn 2. The Black Knight fail their test and must charge the Dragon Hounds. And I'm thinking, yay, great. But he fails. He fails. Terrible. So he stays there, cannot move. I guess, that's okay. But he's a bit far for me to charge now, so yeah. In the subsequent movement phase, he moves his block of 50 forward, ends up in a mysterious forest, and gets a wound from the wildwood. He then moves his block of 100 forward, his skeletons as well, and then places his graveguard in range, I guess, charge range of the hounds, or to protect his knights. It's not going to be good, as you will see in the next turn. In magic phase, he's got 10 dice, I got 6. He casts Van Hells on his block of 50 and moves them forward 4 inches. He regrows his lost zombie at the same time. thanks to the low attribute. His general casts Gaze of Nagash on the hounds. They lose 3 of their fellows, break, run away through my warriors and stick. And he tries to cast Winds of Death, gets 3 6s, misses cast 7, and he's okay. Fortunately for him, the vortex scatters away from anything, but he's very close to the chariot, the camera, and the sorcerer. As you probably can tell, I'm looking forward to things to come, especially with this setup. Get everything in an arc there, ready to charge. But not quite. In my turn 3, I really want to get into the Black Knights and avoid everything else. So I move everything forward against that tower there. I move my dragon, a camera, the sorcerer lord, the BSB behind, and I protect the back of my dragon and the BSB with dragon augurs there. I move the chariot of Slanesh closer or past the charge range of the skeleton, the zombie, sorry, which puts it very close to the vortex, but we'll see what that does. I move my other camera in between the blocks there. I forgot to mention, his big blocks of 100 is facing the right. I guess he was expecting a charge into the Graveguard or something. So I put my camera there, which is outside of the arc of charge, but nicely placed with support from the chariot. They're gonna take potentially hits from the wildwoods, but they should be okay. I think it takes a wound from the wildwood actually, which is unfortunate. In magic phase, I cacophony choir the Graveguard and cause no wounds. Historical Frenzy on the Black Knight causes 0 wound. And the Vortex gets under the chariot, but causes no wounds as well. So much for the Vortex of Doom. Vampire turn 3. His Graveguard have to charge the Dragon Lord to allow the Black Knight to get into combat with the camera, but they fail. The Black Knight and the General Vampire charge the Sorcerer, who flees. They redirect in a camera, and he rolls 3 1s. 3 1s. Fortunately, that was just enough with his normal move to get into the camera. A big block of 100 zombies turns around to try to face the camera and the chariot. And the block of 50 zombies in the forest there turns to face the chariot and the warriors. Magic's phase is pretty poor. He got 4 dice, I got 2. He casts Van Hells, and I think he moved just one with his block. Yeah, he moved his Graveguard forward. We forgot to roll for the Winds of Death Vortex Scatter, so we do it. It scatters from under the chariot into the warriors, and he roars like a god and kills, I think, 5 warriors with the vortex. That was pretty painful. And so the big combat between the Black Knight, the General, and the camera. The Vampire Lord attacks the camera, 8 attacks, 7 hits, causes only 2 wounds, which is terrible, and I pass both Regents with the camera. Wow. The Black Knight unit then hits 6 times, causes 3 wounds, I regen 2, so 1 wound only in the camera. The camera itself does 2 wounds. I use the breath weapon, causes 1 wound, which is save. The camera loses by 3, but sticks around, thanks to the General being next. Dragon Host turn 4. This is happening. The Dragon Lord, the BSB charge into the Black Knight unit. The Sorcerer level 2 rallies and turns around, keeping safe distance. The Dragon Augurs keep the skeleton block at bay so they cannot charge the rear of my key units. And the Chariot moves past the charge arc of the 50 block zombies to also block the Graveguards from charging the BSB on the side there. My second camera flies over the big block of 100 who turn to face it and end up just behind the Graveguards for some fun flaming time. Quick look at the supporting units. In my remaining movement phase, my Warriors of Chaos shift on the side to get away from the Vortex. The Dragon Hounds rally and turn to, stay out of trouble. The Chariot and the Dragon Hounds chaff up the block of 50 skeletons and move out of the arc of charge of the 100 zombies. In the magic phase, I completely forgot I could have cancelled Historical Frenzy at any time during the game, but it's still there. I cast Cacophonic Choir with my level 2 on the Black Knights. It is cast irresistibly, I get an 11 and lose all my wizard level. So I have no longer a wizard. However, the general from Vampire and his Black Knights will always strike last. And I believe the number of wounds I do with Cacophonic Choir is 0, which is unfortunate. In the shooting phase, as expected, the camera huffs and puffs and gets 14 hits on the Graveguard, 10 dead, which is great. When I mean dead, I mean they just melted, they can't do anything anymore. Because, you know, Vampire, they're already dead. Moving on to combat. I'm not feeling too hot with my Lord, so my BSB challenges. He's got Marco Nuggle, so it's gonna be hard to hit. The Vampire still hits as with his own initiative, which is higher than my Lord, than my BSB. He gets only 3 hits, 2 wounds, and I save 1. My BSB lives on. The Backscratcher Lord on top of the dragon gets 5 wounds through, and he saves 1. The dragon only causes 2 hits, 2 wounds, which one of which is saved. The camera, on his other hand, gets 6 wounds through, and 3 are saved. In return, the Black Knights cause 1 wound on the camera, but with combat res, you know, all the remaining Black Lights crumble, and the Vampire Lord is dead. Hey! When the BSB, the camera, and the Dragon Lord tap themselves in the back, say, "Good job, guys." I overrun with my Dragon and Lord on top, and probably run out of steam because I end up probably 3 inches away from the flank of the Graveguard, which is unfortunate. Vampire count turn 5. The Graveguard have nothing else to charge, so they charge the chariot and make it. The 50 skeletons unit on the right hand side decide to charge the Dragon Ogres. They flee and they not overrun. Phew! And lucky for me, the Dragon Ogres don't roll high enough to pass the Sorcerer, so he cannot redirect onto the Sorcerer, which is brilliant. And he's just outside, the camera is just outside of his arc of charge. Magic phase is terrible, he's got 3 dice, I got 1. So he goes for Invocation of Nehek and miscasts on 3 dice. I felt so sorry for my opponent there. The funny thing is, he loses 3 Graveguard but regrows 5, so, you know, positive delta. Thankfully the chariot was not in contact of the mage. And at the end of the magic phase, the vortex moves forward towards the block of zombie slowly but surely. Forgot to mention, the skeleton block of 50 on the left charge the Dragon Hounds, and I don't really care. And the big block of 100 zombies continue their dance not so macabre and face the camera. And the dragon, I guess. But yeah, here's the pitfalls of having such big blocks is they're not easy to maneuver, especially with so many blocks around as well. And my unit just jumps around like they do. Combat phase, the chariot versus the Graveguard causes 3 wounds onto the unit. The Vampire plus the Graveguard cause only 2 wounds to the chariot. Chariot loses by 3, but it passes his leadership test. As expected, on the left side, the Dragon House gets destroyed by the block of 50 skeletons, which reforms to face a chariot. My last turn of the tournament, Dragon Host, turn 6. The BSB, the Sorcerer, and the leftmost camera, not the one on the screen there, charge the Graveguard. So that's a flank, a rear, and a lot of stomps coming up. The Dragon Ogres failed to rally, despite the reroll from the BSB, and proceed towards my side of the table. I then use my rightmost camera with a couple of wounds on it to block the skeleton warriors so they don't charge the rear of my BSB and my Sorcerer. The Dragon and the Backscratcher fly away from any danger. The big block of 100 are facing the camera, and the block of 50 is facing the opposite direction. Shooting phase for funsies, my Dragon uses his last breath on the big block of 50 zombies. Many zombies melt, but ultimately this is a futile. attempt. Combat phase, the chariot versus skeleton on the left hand side of the battlefield. The chariot causes 5 wounds, the skeleton do 1, it's a draw, and we stay there. And then the combat with the graveguards. The vampire challenges, the sorcerer accepts. I want to try the Sword of Change, make it work. Gets 3 wounds onto the sorcerer, who fails 3 up saves and dies miserably. On my side, the BSB causes 3 wounds, the camera causes 5 wounds, the chariot causes 3 wounds. The graveguard unit crumbles, and it's all but the vampire left. So I may have been misleading in my turn counting, but this is turn 4 and that's the end of the game. So I must assume, I forgot, sorry about that, that this was the clock running out. So there we go. Yeah, in total it's a win for Dragon Hounds. I got a doubt, but that's me being trying to be fair play there. Yeah, so turn 4, we play 4 turns, and that's the end, and I won. I get 1,495 points, he gets 630, so pretty good win at the end. Yeah, interesting army. I mean, clearly he was on this table because people had issues dealing with his blocks. So yeah, I'm glad I made sure I was not going to be targeted by these big blocks, especially by my star units, my dragon, my camera, my BSB. So I think I played okay in the movement game or challenge of this game. Yeah, I wish Magic Phase would have been a bit better for me. I wish I remember I could have removed Historical Frenzy earlier. I would have get less wounds on my units when I was in combat with the Black Knights. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a shame I didn't destroy his last vampire. It was a lot of points. But I gave everything I got. Yeah, all the stomps, all the breath weapons, etc., etc. So there you go. End of the tournament. End up with a win. Overall, at the end of the tournament, I end up 57 out of 96 remaining players. Yeah, pretty happy about how it went. The games were interesting. There's a lot of people fighting for these points in the middle. I didn't get the big wins I wanted to get. I did get a big one, but not as many as the other. I did give a lot of points to my opponent though when I lost 20-0. Yeah, it was good. Clearly, Cacophonic Choir is not going to be efficient on a level 2. You need a bit more power to make sure it's cast. I really like the Dragon Host. I know how to play it a bit to make it work. The Dragon Ogres, yeah, they're kind of cool. I'm working on maybe a unit to replace it or complementary it. A unit of converted Skull Crushers, so it goes. But coming back to the tournament. Good tournament, a very sunny weekend. Not the weekend you want to spend inside, but at least I had some fun times. Yeah, because I was surprised as well. We ended up draw for best sportsman, me and another guy, and it was funny. So everybody's gathered for the award ceremony, and says he calls my name, calls the other guy's name, say, well, for best sportsman we get 2, so it's gonna be roll off, and the one who rolls the worst gets it. So I take a die, and yes, you can trust my dice will let me down. But in this case, they didn't. So I roll and I roll a 1. My opponent rolled a 6, so I won best sportsman on a typical Jet Cars roll. There you go. 3 sportsmen, or second sportsman in a row from 2 tournaments in a row. I must be doing something right or something wrong, depending on how you say it. It's a bit funny again. Another Frenchman getting another sportsman. Well, a Frenchman getting another sportsman's award. We're supposed to be swearing and pestering everybody with our arrogant attitude. But there you go. I guess I enjoy the game, and I make my opponent enjoy it as well. Hope you enjoy these battle reports. More to come, more Drop Zone Commander, and a bit more Warhammer as well. Thanks for watching. See you later.